Mom looked at me and said, "We're skipping Halloween this year." "It's too expensive," she added. "Don't send any money and don't bring the kids." So I didn't. I crumpled up the candy shopping list and tossed it aside. I told Ethan and Lily that Grandma needed to rest this year. They accepted it, though Lily's disappointment was obvious. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a notification, an alert from the credit card I'd co-signed for my parents. My heart sank when I read it. 6 first-class flight tickets to Arizona. The passengers' names: Mom, Dad, Tom, his wife, and their kids. But not mine. I stared at the screen, my reflection bending in the glossy surface, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. For a brief moment, I thought it had to be fraud, some mistake. But it wasn't. They hadn't canceled Halloween. They had canceled us. Growing up, I believed my parents were genuinely good people, the kind who dropped off casseroles for sick neighbors, smiled at church, and mailed cheerful Christmas cards. But being their daughter came with a different kind of generosity, one that always moved in one direction. Over the years, I'd quietly paid for countless little things: the new roof, the property taxes, that emergency water heater that just couldn't wait. Each time, they promised to repay me. They never did. And I never asked because that's what good daughters are supposed to do, right? They helped this year. I wanted Halloween to feel special again. The kids were finally old enough to remember it. Ethan had his heart set on being a vampire, and Lily wanted nothing more than to twirl around as a glittering fairy. Every year, we spent the holiday at my parents' house, passing out candy to trick-or-treaters and eating Mom's warm pumpkin bread. It was the one tradition that made me feel like part of a family instead of just their personal bank account. When Mom called to say Halloween was off, her tone was almost breezy. "It's just too much this year, Joy. The economy, you know. We're all cutting back." I pictured her sitting at the kitchen counter, stirring her coffee with that delicate silver spoon I'd given her for Mother's Day. I immediately offered to cover the cost, as always. But she shut me down quickly, too quickly. "No, honey. Don't. You've done enough." Something in her voice made me hesitate. It wasn't warmth or gratitude, it was guilt, lightly disguised as kindness. But I brushed it aside. People act strange about money, especially parents. That evening, I took down the string of orange lights we'd hung across our balcony and carefully folded the kids' costumes back into the closet. "Grandma's tired this year," I told them. Ethan just nodded, trying to be mature, but Lily's small face crumpled. "So, no candy at Grandma's?" she whispered. I swallowed hard and forced a smile. "We'll still make it fun here at home." 2 mornings later, while I was packing school lunches, another alert from the bank popped up on my screen. "Transaction approved. Airline purchase, $4,872. My pulse spiked. That card was only supposed to cover my parents' essentials: groceries, gas, prescriptions. I opened the statement and felt my stomach twist. 6 tickets. Round trip. Portland to Phoenix, and the names stared back at me, taunting. Mom, Dad, Tom, Diane, their kids. I scrolled through the list again, half expecting to see my name somewhere. Maybe it was a mix-up. But no. I refreshed the page, hoping the transaction would vanish like a glitch. It didn't. A brittle, humorless laugh slipped out of me. My parents weren't saving money. They were spending mine on a family vacation, one that didn't include me or my children. At first, I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe Tom had planned the trip and accidentally used the wrong card. Maybe Mom just hadn't mentioned it yet. So, I called her. She picked up after the 3rd ring, her voice sweet as syrup. "Hi, sweetheart. Everything okay?" I kept my tone calm. "Yeah, I just got a bank alert. It says there was a flight purchase." Before I could finish, she interrupted quickly. "Oh, that. Yes. Your father booked something last minute. We haven't traveled in ages. You know how stressful things have been." I hesitated. "With Tom and his family?" There was a pause. Then her voice softened, almost apologetic. "Well, yes. She's been under so much strain lately," Mom said lightly. "Diane thought the kids could use a little sunshine. So you canceled Halloween to go on a vacation?" I asked, my voice sharper than I meant. "Don't get dramatic, Joy," she replied, her tone shifting from sweet to defensive. "It's just a few days. And we needed to use the card for the travel points. The card. The one in my name. The one tied to my credit, my payments, my responsibility. Reduced to points. I didn't speak for a long time. My silence seemed to make her squirm. "We'll pay you back," she added quickly. "You know we always do." I almost laughed out loud. They never did. When I hung up, the quiet inside my apartment was deafening. Ethan sat at the table coloring, softly humming to himself. Lily was taping paper bats to the window, still excited for a holiday her grandparents had arranged. I opened my laptop and logged into the credit account. Line after line appeared: hotel confirmation, SUV rental, dinner reservations. Thousands of dollars in charges, everyone stamped with a date, a time, and my parents' names, Mr. and Mrs. Harris. The next morning at work, I told Casey. She cursed under her breath. "You've got to be kidding. After all the bills you've covered for them?" I gave a half-hearted shrug. "I guess family loyalty comes with an expiration date." She leaned back, watching me closely. "You could freeze the card, you know." "I can't. They'd be stranded out there." Casey's voice softened. "Joy, that's not your emergency. It's theirs." Her words stuck with me all day, echoing in my head like a warning I wasn't ready to face. That evening, my phone buzzed with a message from Mom, a photo of a sunset glowing over red rocks. "Isn't it beautiful here?" Tom finally seems relaxed. A small heart emoji sat at the end, as if that made everything better. Then came another picture. Dad, smiling with a drink in his hand, standing beside Tom. They were both wearing matching Hawaiian shirts. The post was public. Everyone was tagged except me. The caption read, "Family time we all needed." That was the moment it stopped being about money. I wasn't furious because they spent my credit. I was furious because they spent me, my patience, my reliability, my quiet forgiveness. That night, I sat at my desk scrolling through the transactions again, only now I wasn't just looking. I was studying. Every number told its own story. Every payment was proof. Every receipt, leverage. By Friday, the Arizona charges had multiplied. Room service, spa appointments, another 5-star dinner. Each transaction felt like a bruise pressed into my skin. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open, the pale glow spilling across the room like moonlight on a battlefield. For years, I'd managed other people's finances, fixed other people's crises. It came naturally. But this time, I didn't want to fix anything. I wanted them to feel the weight of what they'd done. I hovered my cursor over the freeze card button. My finger shook. Then I pulled back. Not yet. Not this way. Saturday morning, my phone rang. Casey's voice came through before I could even say hello. "You look like someone who hasn't blinked in 12 hours. "I've been doing math," I said flatly. "The emotional kind or the financial kind?" "Both." I told her everything. The fake cancellation, the vacation, the silence afterward. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she exhaled slowly. "You know what they count on, right? That you'll keep being the good one." Her words landed like truth disguised as advice. That evening, I called my parents on FaceTime. They were lounging on a balcony, the golden Arizona light behind them, drinks in hand. I could hear my brother's laughter somewhere off-screen. "Hey, Mom," I said evenly. "How's the trip?" "Oh, it's lovely, honey." "You'd love it here, I bet." I smiled tightly. "Quick question. Did you realize the card you used is under my name?" Her expression faltered. "Well, yes, but you said it was fine for family expenses." "Family," I repeated softly. "Right. I just wasn't sure if that still included me." She gave a nervous little laugh. "Joy, please. You're overreacting. It's just money." "Exactly," I said quietly. "It's just money. You won't even miss it." I ended the call before she could say another word. After tucking the kids into bed, I made myself a cup of tea and returned to the kitchen table. The steam curled softly through the quiet as I logged back into the account. My pulse stayed steady, calm, detached, almost eerily so. I composed 2 short emails, one to the bank requesting the immediate cancellation of all additional cards, and another formally withdrawing myself as guarantor on the account. Then I waited. By Sunday morning, the first text arrived. "Honey, something's wrong with the card. The hotel says it's been declined. Can you check?" I didn't respond. An hour later, another message came. "Please call me." "We're at the front desk." Still, I said nothing. For the first time in years, I wasn't cleaning up their mess. I was letting them sit in it. By the time my phone began vibrating nonstop that afternoon, The apartment was peaceful. Ethan and Lily were on the balcony carving pumpkins, their laughter mingling with the scent of cinnamon candles drifting through the air. I let the phone buzz and buzz across the counter until it finally went silent. Then came the knock. It was nearly 5 o'clock when I opened the door. My parents stood there sunburned, weary, and furious, their luggage lined up in the hallway behind them. Tom and Diane lingered a few feet back, neither daring to meet my gaze. Mom was the first to speak, brushing past me into the living room. "We've been trying to reach you all day. Do you have any idea what we just went through?" I leaned against the doorframe. "Enlighten me." The bank froze the card. "We couldn't check out of the resort. Your father had to call a friend to arrange emergency flights home. It was humiliating." I folded my arms. "Imagine that." She blinked, taken aback. "Joy, this isn't funny. They said you canceled everything." "I did." The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Dad stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. "You can't just do something like that without warning. We were stranded out there." "You mean," I said evenly, "on a trip I didn't even know existed until I saw it on my statement?" Tom finally spoke, his tone defensive. "It wasn't your business what Mom and Dad did on vacation." "Except," I replied coldly, "they did it on my credit." Diane cleared her throat, trying to sound diplomatic. "I think this is just a misunderstanding. Your mom thought you'd cut her off." "My mom," I interrupted, "thought she could lie. She thought she could cancel Halloween for my kids, take the money I used to support them, and spend it on margaritas in Arizona." Mom's expression tightened. "Don't twist it like that. We just needed a break. Then you should have taken one," I said softly, "with your own money." Dad's voice rose, sharp and commanding. "You're being ungrateful, Joy. After everything we've done for you." That word, ungrateful, crackled in my head like static. Years of favors and sacrifices replayed all at once. The dinners, the bills, the roof I paid for, the medical costs. The time I cleared Tom's debt because Dad said it would keep peace in the family. I took a breath. "You're right. You've done plenty for me. You've shown me exactly how family can use you, drain you, and still expect a thank you." Dad's jaw tightened. "Watch your tone," he snapped. I gave a thin smile. "I am, for once." Mom's voice wavered. "We didn't mean to hurt you." For a moment, I almost believed her. Almost. Then I remembered the photos, the matching Hawaiian shirts, the caption about family time we all needed. "Tell me something, Mom," I said quietly. "When you told me to skip Halloween because it was too expensive, had you already booked the flights?" She hesitated, eyes flickering downward. "That was all the answer I needed. You could have just said you didn't want us there," I said. "Would have been cheaper." "Don't talk like that in front of your brother," she murmured. Tom shifted awkwardly. "Look, Joy, maybe it wasn't handled right, but freezing the cards?" "Come on, that was too much." I met his eyes. "So was lying." He didn't say another word. From the hallway came Lily's carefree laughter, bright and untangled by the tension in the room. Ethan trailed behind her, holding up his freshly carved pumpkin. "Mom, can I show Grandma?" he asked eagerly. My mother turned toward him, forcing a gentle smile that didn't reach her eyes, as if pretending could patch what she'd broken. Of course. "Sweetheart," she said softly. I stepped between them before Ethan could move. "No." The single word landed heavy in the space between us. Solid. Unshakable. "You don't get to smile at them like nothing happened," I said, my voice steady. "You told me not to bring my kids because they were too much. Then you used my credit card to take Tom's children on vacation. You didn't just deceive me, you lied to them." Her lips parted as if to speak, then closed again. For once she had no excuse, no defense. Dad pressed his fingers to his temples and sighed. "What do you want from us? An apology?" "No," I said. "Accountability." I crossed to the counter and picked up a folder I'd prepared that morning. Bank statements, confirmation emails, every receipt from that trip. I handed it to him. "You'll find both of your signatures there," I told him. "Every single transaction. I'm closing this account, and the remaining balance is now yours." The bank already approved the transfer. Mom's face drained of color. "You wouldn't." "I already did," Tom muttered under his breath, but Diane's hand on his arm silenced him. "I'm done being your safety net," I said quietly. "If you want to travel again, you can save for it. just like I always did. Dad looked like he wanted to argue, but couldn't form the words. Mom's eyes shimmered with tears. "You're punishing us," she whispered. "No," I said softly. "I'm setting myself free." Behind me, Lily tugged at my sleeve. "Mom, are we still carving pumpkins?" I smiled down at her. "Yeah, baby, we are." When I turned back, my parents were already gathering their things. Tom mumbled a half-hearted goodbye. Diane didn't look at me at all. The door closed with a quiet click, and for the first time in years, silence felt peaceful instead of heavy. I let out a long breath, feeling a weight lift that I hadn't realized I'd been carrying. Later that night, as my kids laughed and handed out candy to trick-or-treaters, my phone buzzed with one last message from my mother. We got home. "I hope you're happy," I typed back. For the first time, I am. After the door shut behind them, the apartment felt new, lighter somehow. The same furniture, the same walls, but the guilt was gone. Just me, my kids, and their laughter echoing down the hallway. Ethan proudly showed me a lopsided pumpkin with uneven triangle eyes. "We made it ourselves," he said. Lily smeared frosting across my cheek as she decorated cookies. The air smelled of cinnamon, sugar, and peace. For once, I wasn't financing someone else's happiness. I was living mine. When the kids were asleep, I sat on the couch with my laptop and began canceling every automatic payment I'd ever set up for my parents, their utilities, their insurance, their emergency fund. My hands were steady. I felt calm, free. A week later, an envelope arrived in the mail. Inside was a check from my father for part of the resort bill and a note written in my mother's careful handwriting. "We didn't realize how much we depended on you. We'll manage from now on, no apology." But it was enough. I slipped the letter into a drawer and looked at the pumpkins lined up on the windowsill. Candlelight flickered through their carved faces, glowing like small, stubborn hearts. Maybe that's what real change looks like. Not loud, not perfect, but honest. I poured myself a cup of tea, smiled at the quiet, and whispered into the calm, "Happy Halloween." That night, I learned something simple but true. Love without respect isn't love. It's debt disguised as devotion. For years, I thought peace meant paying the price to keep everyone else comfortable. But peace, I realized, comes when you stop buying your place in the family. This Halloween, my children will remember laughter, not rejection. And I'll remember the night I chose self-respect over silence. If you've ever been the one who gives until there's nothing left, maybe it's time to stop fixing everything. Share your story below, and stay with us for more real stories of betrayal, justice, and strength.